For Module 6.3, a couple of you have asked questions about it. So you'll notice it's broken down into 2 lab practices and an actual lab for submission. If you're at biology, you're going to choose the passive transport homeostasis enzyme lab. If you're chemistry, you'll choose the percent composition, copper and magnesium, and Newton's second law. Lab analysis of chemical reaction. And if you're physics, you'll choose strings, projectile, and Newton's second law. So let's pretend you're biology. So over here on the lab practice 1, you click on the Google. This is the actual lab, so you can click on this. It'll open up a separate document with the lab inside of it. And you click on this link here that will bring you to the Google Doc. It's the same thing. And so in here, this is where you look at these 10 questions. What curriculum expectations does this lab meet? So you go to the curriculum expectation guide, the chart, and you take a look at the lab itself and you see if it matches the knowledge, inquiry, communication, and application. And you just keep on going through these 10 questions. It is practice, so you don't necessarily have to answer all 10. We'll just do 3 or 4, but you're kind of scanning through and answering some of the questions. And then when the next person comes in, they'll do the same. The next biology person comes in, they'll do the same. And at the end of the day, you'll have, depending on how many teachers are in your section of biochem or physics, you'll have a number of teachers contributing. So that's why you shouldn't feel pressure to answer every single question, because there's a lot of biology. With chemistry and physics, it's a little bit less. And for the physics, because there's so few people, I tried to leave the previous submissions in there. So if you see a previous submission in there, it's intentional. So that way you have a quorum, I guess we'll call it, so that you can actually have a conversation, even though that conversation is asynchronous with the person who took the course in a previous iteration. So you do that for lab practice 1, you just practice, and lab practice 2, you do the same. Honestly, you don't necessarily need to do 1 and 2. It's not being assessed, right? This is just practice. And in lab 3 for submission, you click on the enzyme lab. It'll open up a PDF here. All these labs have been modified so that they're not, modern labs that represent modern practices, culturally responsive, design thinking, and other aspects that you see in 2024. So it gives you many opportunities to actually really interrogate the assessment and offer suggestions for improvement. And then you'll see the 10 questions here. And so you answer those 10 questions and you email me the M6 lab practice as a subject line with these 10 questions answered for the enzyme lab, the chemistry lab, or the physics lab. That is what you're doing.